Okay, rhythm questions. One of the things that we talked about on Monday was um, when you listen to pop music or whatever your favorite music is, taking those two landmarks of beat 2 and beat 4 and seeing like the bass drum and even the melodic notes as how they relate to the 2 and 4. Did you all try that? When you were listening to music, did this idea occur to you at all to listen for that? What was your, were you able to do it? Did it help you like see which parts of the bar you were in?
A little bit more, but I still have to get onto like actually hearing like the, cause I'm not, you know, like you said, you listen with like a percussionist ear,
Yeah.
and that's something I really have to get used to.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
all,
not, like,
we all, so I'm assuming you listen for a more melodic way. How about,
I mean, I keep, you know, like the main like beats, but yeah, melodically, I listen for those things that indicate that like, okay, we're moving into the next thing kind of deal, so.
that's cool. How do each of you listen to music? Like, I'm talking about, I listen mostly rhythmically, little more melodic and harmonic lately, but primarily, you can even listen as a bass player and hear like the harmonic progression by what the bass does. How do you listen?
I'm a producer, so I'm always going to listen for effects and production choices.
Yeah,
And
but as a theorist,
as
how
a
are you
theorist, definitely rhythm. I listen for. I'm more rhythmic
Okay.
listener.
Valerie?
What's it called? The melodic.
Melodic? Okay.
I think it's rhythm.
Okay. Why do you think it's, I mean, what makes you say you think it's rhythm and not?
I'm usually listening for like an underlying like drum line.
Okay.
I'd say probably both rhythmically and melodically. I feel like I try to listen to like the bass line a lot, try to kind of grasp the underlying, movements of the song, and then like also I feel like I do a pretty good job of trying to listen to the rhythmic side of things and how like each bar and like when it repeats and whatnot. So yeah.
So almost the form you're talking about a little bit
Yeah.
there. You're a guitarist, right?
Uh-huh.
And what do you mostly play? Lead, rhythm, guitar?
I'd say lead for the most part, but I do really enjoy playing rhythm because I don't know, just I feel like I really like doing like rhythmic things with the guitar, like doing like certain palm mutes and like certain different patterns and like just coming up with all crazy kind of ways to play that kind of mixes things up.
Yeah, that's similar to what I'm doing. Usually it's
Uh-huh.
rhythm mandolin, but I'm dipping my toe into the guitar world now.
Mm-hmm.
I got a ways to go. You're a guitarist too, right?
Pianist.
Piano.
Although I've played guitar and a number of other instruments.
And where do you play? Or what kind of music do you play and where?
I don't really play, I guess.
Your piano is your instrument, like what do you play? When and where do you play? You just play at home by yourself?
Kind of, yeah.
Let's try to find a place to play with other people. Somewhere. I mean, it's just a part of your musical training. You need to make sure you're getting out there and doing that. Start a band, something like that. How about you, Valerie?
I'm still learning to play piano. I'm not very good at it.
And what do you want to do with music degree when you get it? Have you thought about that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what you can do with it.
Okay. There are some people go and get a music performance degree. This is kind of just general career counseling for music. So we probably should have had this conversation in theory one.
Yeah.
But if you don't ask, it's hard to remember to do it with every class every year. So nothing against Dr. Myers, but
I did try to ask him a few times, but there was never time.
well, let's
It
take
wasn't his fault. It was just circumstances.
Let's take a few minutes now and talk through it. There are really a few options of music careers that you can do with a music degree. Doug is talking about going for a music engineering degree.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to get an audio engineering degree here, and then there's a big
We don't have an engineering
noise.
degree here.
No, not here in Webster. I'm in St. Louis.
Webster, okay.
And then there's a big, I like very noisy and melodic music, and there's a huge scene for that in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm gonna go out there and try and work in media and also try and get involved in that
Okay.
scene.
So music production is a degree that you can get. Webster offers it. SIUE offers it.
And if you get through Music 31, 2, and 3, and you do decent in the rest of your classes, they are pretty open to taking you. I just got accepted into the transfer program for Webster, so.
Yeah, Webster's expensive, and the downside of it is if you're planning to stay in St. Louis, because we have 2 colleges in town turning out music production degree graduates.
WashU too, right?
I don't
WashU
know. I
doesn't.
don't think WashU has it,
Yeah,
but
there's a
what's the
bunch
other
of
one?
studios
They have
though.
a very limited
SIUE,
Oh.
SIU at Edwardsville.
Southern.
So there, because we have 2 schools pumping out graduates in this field, St. Louis is swamped with people that are experts in audio engineering, which is great. I mean, it's great for the scene in town, but it makes it hard to find a job if you're looking for one here in town. So that's one option. Music therapy, to be honest, most of our students these days seem to be going into music therapy. That is, Maryville University is the school that does that, and it's just what it sounds like. You use therapy to help people with medical issues. A lot of people work in psychological fields. Home hospice, a lot of times we'll have a music person that travels home to home. Hospice is like when my wife had cancer near the end of her life. If you have less than 6 months that they expect you to live, there's this program called hospice which tries to let you kind of die at home. So they send nurses and medicine and doctors to your home so that all that end of life care doesn't necessarily happen in the hospital. It's a really great program, which I knew nothing about until we needed it. Then the hospice people were awesome, but they hire music therapists also. And I've known a number of people that work with hospice. Music education, always an option. There's a teacher shortage right now, and I think teachers are going to start getting paid better pretty soon. They were paid, Missouri is the lowest paid state for teachers. So you get a bachelor's degree, which is, education degrees are kind of 5-year degrees now, to be honest, or close to it. And then you get out with 5 years of college and debt, and you go to work for a job that pays you $30,000 a year. That's unsustainable. So I think that's going to change. There's a lot of pressure right now to start paying teachers what they're worth. College teachers that's not what college teachers make starting, but high school, K through 12, that's what they're making.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So the 3 career options that are really viable are those 3: music production, music therapy, and education. Now, if my undergrad was in music education, K through 12. A lot of colleges will also help you get a performance degree. They call it a performance degree, or a Bachelor of Arts in Music, it's sometimes called. That just means you got a degree and you got it in music.
Yeah.
I mean, you did theory and you did all the classes that you have to take, and you took your gen ed stuff, and you got a degree, but it won't get you any job.
Yeah.
If you ever want to get a job, you're still gonna have to audition. You're gonna have to go and compete with other people who got degrees in other fields. It's not a good. Everyone I know who got that performance degree, 5 or 10 years later, they were wishing they had gotten the education degree. Every person, either they were out of music completely or they wish they had gotten the education degree. And a lot of them go back and get a master's in education so that they can teach. Because realistically, if you're a self-employed musician, you're going to be teaching. There isn't enough money. You can't make money.
Yeah, and a lot of people are getting music production degrees or performance arts degrees, and it's easier said than done. But I know a lot of people who are moving to different cities or different towns or municipalities and starting a small label based off of the people that are around there, because there's a lot of, and basically what happens is they work with somebody who's got connections or whatever, and then both those people come together. There's money behind it usually that comes from somewhere, and they
I don't want to cut you short, but let's
Sorry.
have this
Yeah.
conversation
So
outside
that's
of
something
class.
that's
'Cause
something people do too with music.
I think you're the
engineering
only
degrees.
one that's a candidate for that, so let's talk about that outside of class. There's one other thing I wanted to say about these degrees.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Do you think it would be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like beneficial to like double major in like a performance and an education degree, or do you think just one or the like an education degree
I
overall
mean,
would just
that's
be better?
kind of what I was wanting to do when I was an undergrad.
Yeah.
I don't think it would,
I mean, most of the classes for both degrees align pretty closely, with the exceptions of one or two other things.
I think if you want to do that, my advice would be if you want to do that is just get the education degree and practice your ass off. That's what I did.
No.
I practiced like the people who were doing the performance degree. Most of the ed majors didn't practice that much, but I was practicing 4 or 6 hours a day. I mean, I really wanted to master my instruments. In percussion, it's a little weird because we study the whole family. If you're a trumpet player, you don't play tuba and French horn. If you're a clarinet player, mostly they don't play saxophone or flute. But in percussion, if you play percussion, you play drum set and marching band and marimba and jazz. I mean, you just play everything. African instruments, South American instruments, Middle Eastern. It's just, we study the whole family, unlike other instruments. And I love that. Like I would practice all day, every day if I had the money and the time to do it. But, I mean, you gotta be honest about what you wanna do. If you wanna perform and you wanna have that ed degree to fall back on, then just go to the ed degree and practice your ass off like the performance people. Then when you get out, you can go and perform as best you can, you know, whatever you learned. But if you lose an arm in a car wreck, you or your girlfriend gets pregnant, then and you need health insurance, like to raise a family, you've got that education degree sitting there waiting in a field where they're hungry for teachers right now. And the retirement system in education is the one advantage financially. You have a pretty comfortable retirement. Missouri has a good teacher pension program. So I know you guys are all under 25 probably, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 20.
Are you all under 20?
No, I am 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're all in the you're young from my perspective. So you maybe haven't had to think about these practical life issues until the last year or two, but if you haven't, like, now's the time to think about them. And you don't want to be one of my advice is don't be one of those people who gets a performance degree and then 5 years from now you realize you have no retirement. You're gonna be like, when you turn 50, you're gonna still be doing the same thing you were at 25, going out there hustling for gigs, trying to make ends meet, trying to figure out how you're gonna pay for health insurance. That's tough. An education degree takes care of a lot of those issues for you because you're a teacher. You got a good pension, you've got health insurance, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fun conversation, yeah.
A lot of performance degrees. I've seen a lot of guys with performance degrees become directors.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not always a bad thing, but
Like most employers, your performance degree, even if you don't end up in music, a performance degree will open doors for you. A lot of people with music degrees end up like network administrators for companies, like they manage the computer systems, things like that. What a college degree tells you is tells about you to an employer is that you had a goal, a long-term goal, 4 years for a bachelor's degree. You went, you got yourself signed up, you completed all the things that college asked you to do in the right order, and you could work with people, you didn't get kicked out, you didn't have any of these problems that made you not succeed in getting the degree. That tells the employer a lot about you and your work ethic, and that's one of the most important things about getting a college degree. Employers look at it and they say, okay, this person knows how to play the game, and I can rely on them to some degree, and then they'll find out more when they hire you. So that doesn't matter what field you end up in, a degree is helpful for that reason. But some degrees are more helpful than others, and some lead you straight to like comfort in life and a career, where others will lead you to a career where you're kind of always responsible for your own work. maybe that appeals to you. To me, I wanted a little more stability in my life than that. But because of that, I'm not as good a performer as some of the people that were at performance degrees. So there's always a give and take. You got to balance those issues. Welcome to adulthood for all you young people. Okay.